Hi, music lovers and all. So glad you can tune in. And whether it's through BCTV, cable channels, or on YouTube, I'm proud to bring you some of Detroit's best artists. Many of our own city's musical gems are overlooked and underrated. So those players, maybe they go on the road and find appreciation in different towns, but you have to know they're right here in Detroit. And my first guest has spent many years bringing joy to audiences through the blues, and his name is Jeff Maylin. And hello, Jeff, and welcome.
Well, thank you, Kat. It's wonderful to meet you, and I appreciate being here.
And I understand your first introduction to playing was in college?
Well, actually, before that, my mom had forced me to take some piano lessons. She metaphorically dragged me off the baseball field. I took for about a year. I think I remember how to play Moon River, but I could play some blues on piano, but somehow there was a guitar in the closet of the house. I didn't know where it came from. And I was into Bob Dylan a lot, and somehow I taught myself guitar. And I did stuff like, I knew if I did it correctly, like Mr. Tambourine Man. I started playing coffee houses about 5 months later.
All right.
And then, I was patterning myself after Dylan, James Taylor. But then I remember one day I heard this stuff on the radio. I never heard it. I went crazy over it. It was blues. It was B.B. King. I said, I got to learn this stuff.
Okay.
And ever since then, I became a blues guy,
Yeah. And so, well, a lot of people know B.B. King, but I think you actually got into some other artists.
Oh,
really deep in that genre.
Well, yeah.
Maybe a lot of people, like myself, I've not heard of certain blues artists.
I remember in my 20s I started hanging out in the ghetto. Not that I'm, I hung out with a lot of the brothers. I'd be one of the only white boys hanging out, and I learned from the masters. I played with Bobo Jenkins, Willie D. Warren. I sat in with Eddie Burns. I remember this black club I went to. I used to dress like a white Jimi Hendrix. I was pretty wild looking. Punk rock. I had boots almost up to my knees and a sport jacket, a thin mustache. I was out of control. And anyway, I would sit in with Glemmy Durrell, which was a legendary Detroit blues guy, at a bar called the Green Door around 94 in Van Dyke.
Oh, okay.
And I dug it, and I had this white Telecaster at the time. And I remember this brother told me, he said, Jeff, I got to talk to you outside the bar. I said, okay. He said, Jeff, do you know what's going on? I said, no. He said, Jeff, the guy's business is increasing. They're going crazy over a white boy playing the blues. I said, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I was trying to learn everything I could learn from the bluesmen I played with in Detroit, and I always got treated great. A lot of it's how you carry yourself, and I try to be a gentleman.
Sure.
Walk with strength but humility, and put forth vibes of light and love, so it was all good.
Right. I think a lot of listeners' exposure to blues is, like we mentioned, B.B. King, and my exposure to it was artists like Bonnie Raitt and the British bands crossing over and doing the old blues artist numbers and reworking them, and but you dig deeper in that. What is it about the blues that you think draws people in?
Well, for me, it's a good spirit. Being a lead guitarist, I try to dig as deep as I can on that guitar. Any kind of pain you go through, you can dig deeper. You can turn pain into something to make people feel really good and touch their heart.
Yes.
And so that's what I try to do. And I have my own style. I look at other artists like Hendrix or Buddy Guy or Stevie Ray or a lot of the guys who are my heroes. I would learn certain things from their thing. There'd be different colors to work with as an artist, but I always do my own thing. You got to be true to yourself, and I try to communicate with the audience.
Right.
When I'm out there, I usually say I'm giving up for you guys to let them know I'm just a regular guy and I appreciate being here, which makes me feel good. But I have a great bass player, Jim Bradley, and a great drummer, Matt Kelly, and if I got a good rhythm section, bingo.
There you go.
That's what you need as a lead guitarist.
Right. Supporting you like that.
Yeah.
And guitar is a real vital part of the blues, main instrument, Are there any shows, or I know you do a lot of festivals?
I haven't done a lot of festivals, but I'll tell you a cool festival I did I think it was called the Smith Creek Blues Festival, and B.B. King's daughter was there, Shirley
Oh.
King, and I was kicking it with their bass player, and their manager wanted my number because I did a pretty good show. I had a good bass player, Darryl Lee on bass, and Heavyfoot Milton on drums. They dug it, and their manager wanted my number, and I think about a week later, I was supposed to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the young lady I was hanging out, but something said, Jeff, don't leave town, but I did. This is when they had answering machines, more than phones. I got back, I got 3 calls, Jeff, where are you? Shirley King wants you to do 3 gigs with her in Indiana, whatever. And when I called, it broke my heart because I could have met B.B. King, and that's like meeting God.
Right.
My heart dropped,
Yeah.
But everything's for a reason. It's all good,
So, well, of the shows that you actually, that's the one that got away, right? But
Yeah.
But you have any ones that you actually performed at that maybe stand out in your
I
mind?
haven't played at a lot of blues festivals because I'm getting out there again. I didn't for a long time.
Okay.
And I got a good agent, looking out for me. And we're hooking up stuff here and there. And I want to be out there now, which is good.
Yeah.
Got to have a good band. That's majorly important.
Right, and that's the struggle, right now is being able to.
But I've
the
sat in
financial
with
logistics of
some
it.
famous bands and some famous players. In Florida, I sat in with Little Ed and the Blues Imperials.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And I did real good. I could say I tore it up, but I did. And I sat in with Johnny B. Gaden, who was Albert Collins' bass player, at a bar after Albert died. And he said, Jeff, I dig you as a person. I dig your guitar playing. If you need me, I'm there. I sat in with I've sat in at bars like in Memphis. I did a gig with my buddy Luther Keith at Morgan Freeman's bar in Memphis. I love Memphis. And I'd sit in there and I dug it. I was playing with this guy, Don Cunningham. I said, he said, Jeff, go in the audience. People are digging it. What you want.
Yes.
You've got to believe in yourself and throw down. There's a good rhythm section. I'll throw down every time. I may not know how to do a lot of things, but I can play the blues guitar.
Right.
I can barely drive, but I can play a blues guitar. I can actually read and write,
And get right out into the audience. They
Yeah,
love
and you
that.
got to communicate, make them feel something good.
Connect.
See, I learned an old bluesman trick from Willie D. Warren. Willie used to play with Buddy Guy. And I asked Willie when I was at Legend, I said, Willie, I used to play with Willie D. Warren. He said, you played with him. He looked at me he said, oh yeah, when I was in my 20s, I played with Willie D. Warren, Otis Rush. Buddy's a great guy. Phil Guy, I was jamming with Phil Guy at a bar, but I'll tell you, one of my blues stories is that he wanted me to go on the road with him. Now, when I was 17, I was supporting myself in a small town, went out west, hitchhiked the East Coast. Unfortunately, sometimes some bad stuff happens. When I was about 18, a guy I thought was my buddy gave me and this other guy about 15 hits of LSD.
Oh, wow.
Took me about 8-9 years to recover from it.
Oh.
All I can say is the gift was I learned humility, and I can dig deeper now on that blues guitar. So everything's for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all good. I'm still here.
story.
God must love us,
Yeah. Well, locally.
Yeah.
You perform at a lot at the Madison Club
Yeah.
in Madison Heights?
We
is that
played
right?
there a lot. It's going well, and then they're going through a management thing now. I'm sure I'll play there again, but we got some other gigs out there, which is really cool. And I sat in with a buddy of mine at Max Dugan's on 10 and John R.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of fun. I did well. It was fun, and it was all good. And if you can make people feel good, that's a beautiful thing. And the neat thing is, if you're playing well and people dig it, they throw that love energy back, and then you do even better.
It is.
If
It's
you
a
want to make
domino
them feel good,
effect.
that's it.
Exactly. We all have those nights where it's like sometimes you hit that right combination of all that,
Right.
and people connect, and there's so many different variables to it, and I see myself in videos. I hate watching my own videos, but I could tell when I'm dealing with a sound issue or something like that. It's like if you put all that stuff aside,
Right.
and just go into the moment.
I got to hear you play because I'm sure you're a great sax player, which is awesome.
Thank you.
You
Come
could,
s-
and
come
actually, if
see-
you ever want to sit in with my band,
Okay.
you're more than welcome. We'll
thank
let you know
you.
what key it's in, and we'll throw it
Thank
on.
you. Thank you. Gotta love. I love playing the blues.
Yeah.
And
There's a spirit about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually a blues audience, it's just a mellow spirit, where if you go to a rock club or a country bar, it's a different kind of spirit, where the blues is more happening, you know. And I dig guys like Buddy Guy, Joe Bonamassa, you know, Luther Allison, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf. I listen to all those guys. They inspire me, you know. It's great stuff.
Well, I think you hit on the common denominator as far as the emotionality to it that everybody can relate to.
Yeah,
feeling, you know, the most basic kind of expression in music, you know. And it all it's probably the foundation of most American music right away, you know. So.
Yeah.
I saw your video from the Memphis Smoke, so that's going back a ways, right?
That's like, I hope you liked it.
Yes, I did, and I missed that place actually. And
it was a
you
fun
know,
place.
there was, in my opinion, there's not a whole lot of venues like that in general, and they're becoming more difficult to find. What are your views on that? And
I think the blues never died, but the thing that's making me excited, there's guys like Magic Mike and some other young blues guitarists.
Okay.
If they could get some commercial hits, it would help bring the blues more alive.
Okay.
It never died out, and just guys like Kingfish and Bonamassa being out there,
Oh, right.
which is really great. In fact, he's got that record company keeping the blues alive. And so, you know, so I'm just positive about it, you know. A lot of kids, they just never heard it because all they're listening to is that young people's music. Some of it's good, most of it lacks depth and soul. And the rappers, it's all good, but, you know, they haven't heard the blues.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if they hear it, they say, damn. You know, Joe Bonamassa says this isn't your dad's blues, like the more modern blues is, it still has that blues feel. I'd say you hit the wall rock, but you keep it blues. It's got a certain spirit. If more kids hear it, they'd say, wow, I like that stuff.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's been my exposure too. Is
Yeah.
the hybrid rock blues or country blues,
Yeah.
gospel blues, and things like that. You know. Well, you probably already sort of answered this question, but what's your opinion on the Detroit music scene in general? I mean,
Well, I'm more in a
any ideas
vacuum
on
in
how to
blues,
improve?
but we need more gigs out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully there'll be more gigs out there for all the bands, because it's hard for rock bands or blues bands or jazz bands to get gigs anywhere, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But so when I'm out there, I appreciate it, you know.
Right. I'm starting to think nowadays it's like maybe, you know, we have to put on our own shows, really. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know, just find a hall somewhere and just,
I know.
you know, put on the show and take that gamble. And because I think,
I'll tell you a cool story about it. I was
Yeah.
playing on 12th Street with Bobo Jenkins, and I was sitting outside the bar smoking. These two cops looked petrified. I said, are you okay? I said, yeah, you know, I'm a blues man. I'm playing at Bobo.
Okay.
It's all good, no problem, because
Yeah.
they couldn't imagine. What's this white boy doing hanging out on 12th Street? Not that I'm a bad dude, but, you know, it's like, you know, it was all good, and they couldn't believe I was out there. But the brothers taught me so much, you know. I wanted to be black when I was younger, you know, and I revered these. They were like my heroes, so I learned as much as I could, you know. It was awesome.
pick up your influences. And I've done the same, you know, just
Yeah.
like study recordings and study, you know.
And I had the opportunity to hit some blind
shows.
pigs with different bands. That was pretty
really?
wild, you know.
Wow, wow. And you
Yeah.
already mentioned so you have your influences as blues players, but a specific artist on guitar,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy Guy,
Buddy Guy. Okay.
who's incredible. Eric Clapton, Joe Bonamassa, Jimi Hendrix, Hubert Sumlin, who played with Howlin' Wolf, Lightning Hopkins, Mississippi John Hurt, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Robert Johnson. And Robert Johnson, you ever hear the story of Highway 61 of him selling his soul to the devil.
Well, the Crossroads, right?
Yeah, do you know that story?
I think I saw the
Well,
movie.
see, he was hanging out. Son House would play, and I think Willie Brown. And in between breaks, Robert Johnson picked up a guitar, but he wasn't that good at the time. People, were going crazy. And then he disappeared. They didn't think he was that good. They disappeared for a couple of years. He came back as this great guitarist, and they said he must have sold his soul to the devil,
Right.
In fact, they got a tune related to Crossroads, which is called Standing at the Crossroads, where I'm on
Okay.
Highway 61, and the devil approaches me, and I basically tell him not interested, because my mom taught me right. I stay in the light and go on, but it's a takeoff on that.
Okay.
But basically what happened was there was this guy who we lived with a couple of years, Isaac Ike Zimmerman,
Okay.
who I'm convinced was a mulatto Jewish cat. And he taught him, he was a great guitarist, and he taught, like I had a teacher, Joey Mazzola, who helped me use a sponge. He taught me a lot of great stuff, and he came back, and I said, damn, he was throwing down. People couldn't believe it,
Yeah. Well, that's how you pick up all these different
Oh, yeah,
nuances in your
because
playing.
he wrote
you know.
Sweet Home Chicago and a bunch
Yeah.
of famous stuff,
Right.
Robert did.
I heard a story out of the million things you see on Facebook. This guy's talking about one of the first trips that Led Zeppelin made to the U.S., and they went to some southern radio station.
Uh-huh.
He's like, can you take us to the Crossroads, Robin Johnson? And I guess this guy drove them out to just some random intersection out in the middle of the cornfields and said, yeah, here it is.
That's
And it's like,
Well, the cool thing is, like the Rolling Stones, they helped the bluesmen like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf
Yes.
get out there.
Yes.
And I remember the first time I sat in at Kingston Mines, I'd go there every couple of years sitting with a guy named Charlie Love. He let me sit in. Back then I used the name A.K. Detroit Slim, but the guy stole it in Chicago, but I don't, it doesn't matter. I'm okay being Jeff. But anyway, they helped those guys get out there. I remember seeing a picture of the Stones. I said, wow, the Stones have been on the stage. I hang out sit in at Legends, which are cool bars in Chicago,
oh, okay.
which is fun,
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes you hear this mindset. I just want you to know your thoughts on it. And then everybody goes through their own struggles in life in general. But
Right.
are you of the school of thought that you have to, and this sounds cliche, suffer for your art, sort of a thing? That sometimes
Well,
it goes with the blues mentality.
There's a stereotype
or
about
not.
there's a stereotype about that in a sense. Even like a lot of guys in the old days think, well, if you're really somebody in the music world, you gotta do heroin or whatever,
Right.
which is like a mythology. But
Yeah.
definitely in blues, especially, or if you've gone through a lot of suffering and you gain humility or a sense of appreciation, I think it can be translated into art. I know that because of what I went through. When you get locked up for a while, you have a different view on life, I'll say, without going into details about it. But
Yeah.
that what I find is I can dig deep if I want to show feelings. It's all about communicating feelings. So I can
Sure.
dig deeper. That's my own personal vantage point of it. I think there's a definite relationship. If you can turn
Yeah.
that into the depth of your suffering, it can be the height of your happiness that you can give to people. I believe there's
Right.
a relation, just like the relationship between drama and comedy, I think.
Right.
So I definitely think it can help you,
Yeah.
you know.
I do find that I play better when I'm angry, but but at the same time, I don't want to get myself there I don't want to go there on for the sole purpose of
Right.
being better. So there's that fine line. But you're right, taking something that's already
It's like I used to live in
in
an
you,
abandoned apartment
you
in Ann Arbor for a couple of weeks. I'd play in the street for money, husking and busking, whatever it's called. And I
Okay.
got out to meet
Yeah.
Jake, who was legendary, and I had fun doing that, and you learn from it. Just
Yeah.
different things that can help you have character, and
right.
whatever.
Would you do you have any say if some younger people are watching this broadcast, would you have any advice for somebody starting out playing the blues?
Yeah, I'd say start listening to B.B. King and, maybe get some guitar teachers and give it a chance. Because, like I said, a lot of young people, I say, just try dialing in blues. They haven't heard it. Once you hear it, you say, damn, this stuff's great. They haven't heard it. Because it's like 1% of airplay on radio stations.
Right.
And
right.
my God, because it taps into your emotion and your soul and everything. And not that it just, as a blues lead guitarist, to me, that's why I love it. I look at it as impressionistic art of the moment.
Okay.
And it's just a beautiful feeling to be free on the guitar. I remember meeting a lady violinist who played in the Detroit Symphony Orchestra at a store. I was talking to her. She said, well, Jeff, we're slaves to the written note, whereas you guys can improvise.
Oh, okay.
So she was looking at me, how cool that is. While I was looking at her, wow, you'll play in symphony orchestra.
Right, right. I think we both admire, I always talk about that, sight reading versus the ear, and to have both skills is really a blessing. But I'm an ear player myself, and
You play by ear, that's awesome. That's awesome.
One or the other skill is,
Right.
You could still navigate through music and still express yourself.
Well, that way you're more, you don't have to think, you're just there. And there's a beauty. There's a beauty about that in terms of the aspect of creating. It's a good thing.
Stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
I like that.
You learn it all, but then you don't think about it as you're performing.
Right.
You have a show coming up.
Well, the closest thing I got coming up is January 25th at a bar called CHOPZ. I haven't played there before, but we'll have fun.
Okay.
I sat in with a buddy of mine, Jamie Schultz, who's a great guitarist.
All right.
He's my dentist, and for years I have a painting business. I barter painting for dentistry, save my teeth. That's pretty lucky.
There you go.
How cool is that?
Right.
And Jamie hooked me up with a good amp. I sat in with some guys, had met, we bonded, and then we threw down. It was fun.
Nice.
But yeah.
So that's with the Jeff Maylin Blues Band,
Yeah.
Saturday, January 25 of 2025 at Shots Bar and Grill,
Yeah.
and that is 30859 West 10 Mile Road, Farmington Hills, Michigan. Yeah, see, I got it right here. And so where can people find your music? Online?
Well, you can, on Reverb Nation, I got a lot of cool stuff. Now, when I tripped out, all I'll say is there was a girl, Paula, I was in love with. It messed everything up in my life. Before that, it was great. And I have a tune song for Paula on Reverb Nation, plus it'll say Jeff Maylin songs, and people will dig it. I do some Jimi Hendrix stuff, Third Stone from the Sun, and a lot of cool stuff. And then I have a lot of YouTube videos. People from my past may not recognize, because my actual spelling is Mahlin, but I go by Maylin in the music world.
Okay.
But I think they'll like it, and I'm just trying to do my thing, make people happy,
Great.
It's more fun to do that.
So everybody find Jeff Maylin on Reverb Nation.
And see if I got real famous people to be following me around to see if what kind of junk food I was eating in my car, and
See?
if I took showers regularly, which is
Put that on your website.
Yeah, I told someone recently, I said, I've only used 7 bars of soap in 60 years. I think they got jealous when I told them that. I don't know.
These little tidbits you could put on.
Just like I felt bad for people are going. I felt bad
sheet.
for a friend because he was seeing a psychiatrist, and he told the psychiatrist he was having suicidal thoughts, and the psychiatrist said, it's terrible you're going through that, but you're going to have to start paying me up front.
Right.
Eesh.
Up
So
front.
you shouldn't have to live like this. You got a right to cry the blues. Oh my God.
Well, thanks so much, Jeff, for joining. We're going to end the talk segment right here because Jeff is going to play a song.
This is an old beat-up blues guitar, not the thing I usually do, but you may dig it. Every day I got the blues. Every day I got the blues. If you see me downhearted, baby, you know it's you I'd hate to lose. Well, nobody loves me Nobody seems to care. Well, nobody loves me. Nobody seems to care. Well, bad luck and trouble. You know, baby, I had my share. Every day I have the blues. Every day I got the blues. Every day I got the blues. Now I'll try to say something on the guitar, be easier in my band. Every day I got the blues. Go ahead. Every day I got the blues.
Ooh yeah, ooh yeah.
You see me downhearted, baby. You know it's you I hate to lose.
Hey,
every day.
every day. Hey. Every day I got the blues.
Every day I got the blues.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna pack my suitcase, walking down the line.
And down the line.
I'm gonna pack my suitcase, walking down the line.
On down the line.
Well, I can't see nobody crying for my thing.
Hey,
every day.
Every day, yeah. Ooh, every day.
Every day.
Hey.
One more time, okay?
Okay.
Every day.
Every day I got the blues. Every day I got the blues, yeah.
Let's bring it home. Every day I got the blues.
Ooh, yeah. Jeff Maylin, everybody.
And I dug your voice, Kat. It was
Thank
breathtaking and wonderful. You know that.
Thank you so
You're
much,
very
Jeff,
welcome.
for joining today.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much, too.
All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of CHOPZ. And tune in on YouTube and Bloomfield Community TV. Also, that is Channel 18, I believe, for Bloomfield Hills, Birmingham. And you can also find it on ATT, cable, and Roku. See you all next time.